Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something pretty unique. It's a deeply personal text that lays out a whole theory of everything: reality, why we suffer, and most importantly, the hidden forces the author believes are secretly pulling all the strings. So, the whole thing kicks off with this really big question. It basically asks, what if what we see isn't all there is? What if our world is actually running on two different levels? You've got the one we see every day, and then there's another one, a much, much stranger one that we can't see at all. All right, so to really get our heads around this, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll look at a really cool analogy involving quantum physics. Then, we'll get into who these external forces actually are. After that, we'll check out the evidence the author says is all around us. Then, things get personal. We'll see how this becomes a war for the author themselves. And finally, we'll look at the cosmic endgame, how this all supposedly wraps up.
Okay, let's jump right in. The author's whole theory, the entire thing, is built on this one core analogy. It compares our reality to the world of physics. And honestly, it's a pretty wild way to frame such an out-there idea.
And this slide right here, this is the absolute heart of the idea. So on one side, you have our everyday world. Think of it like classical physics. An apple falls from a tree, things seem predictable. That's our secular world. But then you've got the hidden world. The author says this is like quantum mechanics, the weird, invisible rules that are actually running the show behind the scenes. And in this hidden world, it's not particles and waves, it's these external forces that are secretly influencing, well, everything.
Okay, so if there's this secret, hidden world, who's in it? Who are the players in this cosmic game? Well, the author doesn't just leave that hanging as some vague idea. Nope, they give us a whole breakdown, a detailed list of what they call these external forces.
And look at this. The author basically pulls together figures from all over the place. We're talking Abrahamic religions, Satan, Jesus, angels, Buddhism, Mara, Buddhists, Hinduism, Ravana, Vishnu, and even others like Shintoism and Scientology. The point they're making is that these aren't just myths or beliefs. They're all real, active players in a constant, invisible turf war for our world.
Now, according to this worldview, this big conflict isn't just some abstract philosophical thing happening on another plane. No, the author claims it spills over and manifests right here in our physical world. And they point to specific, real-world events as proof that these hidden battles are happening all the time.
All right, let's look at a really fascinating case study they bring up. Remember Greece's unbelievable win in the 2004 European Football Championship? Nobody saw that coming. For sports fans, it was the ultimate underdog story, a total miracle. But for the author, it was something else entirely.
And here's the twist. For the author, the normal explanation, good coaching, great teamwork, a bit of luck, that's just the cover story. The real reason Greece won, they claim, is because in the hidden world, the ancient Greek gods won a battle against the Abrahamic god, Jehovah. And the football match? That was just the result playing out here on Earth.
Wow. And this is basically the author's whole method, right? You see it here. They take big historical events, like the Crusades or Hitler's atrocities. They look at cultural symbols, like "In God We Trust" on our money. They even point to people acting erratically, as if they're possessed. And all of it gets reinterpreted as the physical evidence of these invisible wars. Everything we see is just a symptom of a much bigger fight we don't. So we've gone from this grand, sweeping theory of history to something much more personal. And this is where it gets really intense. See, the author doesn't just think there's some spectator watching this cosmic war from the sidelines. No, they believe they're a direct target. And yeah, this is where you really feel the emotional weight of this whole worldview. For the author, their personal suffering isn't just random bad luck or something caused by worldly problems. They see it as a direct, targeted attack. It's punishment from these opposing forces, all because they believe they chose the correct faith. This constant torment is basically created what the author calls a hell on earth. Can you imagine? They feel like a puppet with these invisible forces just pulling their strings. It leads to this profound feeling that trying to fix things in the real world, secular efforts, is totally meaningless when the real enemy is unseen and relentless.
You can just hear the exhaustion in this, right? The pure despair. It's the voice of someone who truly feels like they're a soldier on the front lines of a spiritual war, just waiting for some final rescue, some intervention that will finally end what they see as a lifetime of torment.
Okay, so this incredibly personal struggle, it all builds to a climax, a vision of one final, massive, universe-changing event.
The author believes all of it. The hidden wars, the personal suffering, it's all leading up to something they call the big day.
But to really get this endgame, you first have to understand this concept the author brings up, the dark forest rule. The idea is that the forces we know from our religions, Jesus, Satan, Buddha, all of them, they're just the appetizers. The real heavy hitters, the truly powerful cosmic players, are actually still in hiding. They're following this dark forest rule, where it's just too dangerous to show your hand until the final decisive moment.
So this path to the big day unfolds in a few stages. First, you have the low-level forces, the ones we know, stirring up chaos on Earth and gathering followers. All the while, the real cosmic heavyweights are just watching from the shadows. Then, boom, the big day arrives, and it kicks off the biggest war the universe has ever seen. And when the dust settles, some ultimate being, an all-knower, steps in to pass final judgment on everyone and everything.
And really, one of the main takeaways from the author's conclusion is this absolutely chilling ultimatum. There's no staying neutral. You can't sit this one out. In their view, every single person has already picked a side, whether they realize it or not. The choice is pretty stark. Either you suffer for what they call the truth now, in this life, or you face some kind of eternal despair later. A final, painful price will be paid.
So, we started with a big question, and this text presents one person's incredibly detailed, intricate answer. It's a whole system designed to give order to a chaotic world, to give cosmic meaning to what feels like unbearable personal suffering. And in a way, it's a powerful reminder of that universal, deeply human drive we all have, that need to find some kind of story, some framework to make sense of our reality.